My back. 4 long years it's taken, and I finally rolled over that extra digit. 10,000 words. What can you do with it? What does it feel like? Feels weird. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Chad, and this week, as always, is brought to you by our lovely Patreons there over at the Manga Club. $10 or more, get your name read off. Wow, look at all these names. Oh boy. Oh, I know him and her. Yeah, I didn't check before. I didn't check before I started. Shut up. Whatever. If you can't tell by my sweaty face, it is July. It is also a dog barking outside, so I have to close all my windows, and thus the heat intensifies. I think that videos like this are super important for me personally, but also for you guys, because the whole point of me doing this channel, as well as reviewing sources and showing off cool stuff in Japan, giving my thoughts on things, it has been a weird, I hate the word social experiment, but it's been an experiment of watching someone consistently study Japanese over a long period of time and going from knowing nothing, which was my first videos, I hadn't even really started studying Japanese yet, till now, and what you can accomplish. And not saying that, you know, I am the barometer from which you should strive to be. It depends on your life circumstance. But this is what I have accomplished in 4 years. I'm incredibly proud. And hey, I think 10,000 words, not every word, but 10,000 is pretty interesting. And I need to make videos like this because it's good for people to be able to look back and see their progress. Like, I actually print out, and I have somewhere downstairs, the very first language learning journal I ever did, and it was me trying to figure out kana and like struggling to like tell certain ones apart. And looking at that, and then flash forward to now, feels good. And you know in your gut, even if you can't see day-to-day progress, you can usually see it over the long term. So a video like today, I think is gonna be necessary because I won't roll over another digit till 100,000. So what am I at now? What's kind of Chad's life looking like? And how does it apply to how he interacts with the language? What can he read? What can he do? Well, first things first, it was a holiday weekend. For those of you tried to go to the live stream, couldn't figure it out. It actually happened to be a holiday, and I take holidays off because life is incredibly short. I could die tomorrow, and would I rather say that, hey, I gotta hang out with my family and listen to country music and throw cornhole, or would I rather have gotten 10 words closer to a goal that gets fuzzier the closer I get to it? I would rather, tell my family I love them. So, yeah, I didn't study for 2 days. Today, technically, I was supposed to be exactly 10,004 words. However, I'm at 9,944 words. So 3 days from now, I will roll over that 10. I still don't want to have to wait another week to make this video, so we're gonna do it live. Here, I'll fix it. There. Now we don't have to complain anymore, right? Probably by the time you're watching this in the future, I'm well over 10. So it all works out. Dear Lord, I'm sweaty. Oh, it's hot. So that's the number currently, is 9,944. That's in my memorized deck. I'm not including my Anki decks because I haven't run those in a while. And I'm also not including the words that I just learned from living and working in Japan. And I've had people comment a lot, actually, when I make that statement, that there are words I just haven't put into cards, and hey, how do you remember those words? How do you know those words? Both in like a curious way and sometimes in a call-outy way. And I thought about it today because I was gonna say the same thing I've been saying, that there's X amount of words I just happen to know. And I think one of the good examples was like moto kano. So if you guys don't know, you have moto, which is like previous. Kano is short for kanojo, or girl, or girlfriend. And I know that word because I have friends who just constantly moan and complain about their exes. And that's how they say it. Now, I've never seen that in a dictionary. I've never seen that used in a word list. And in fact, I don't know the version offhand for ex-boyfriend, but I can imagine if it follows the same formula, it's probably moto kare for kareshi. To be fair, I don't know if that's the case. Maybe you guys can tell me, but that's kind of the nice thing about knowing like one version of a word. You can almost inference the other versions that you can kind of mix and mash and move around with. So I think that's pretty fair, like a pretty fair assessment of what I mean by these words that I don't personally happen to have learned formally, but I do know them and maybe I can figure them out. Either way, I don't include those in this list either, so it might be higher, but who knows by how much. So let's just move on to kanji. As for kanji, I learned all of the kanjis, their reading and meaning, all the way up to the N2, all of them. And then I did start with remembering the kanji. Like many people, I got to like 1,400, 1,500, and then you kind of taper off and go, Honestly, I think I can figure this out on my own. A lot of people I know stop around the 14, 15 region. Not for any, like, there's no formal reason why there's all these, like, how to learn Japanese sites. They say only go to 15. It's not like that. It's just this weird trend that once you hit 14 or 15, you've typically been studying long enough and know enough about the language that you can kind of just figure it out. I know that's probably not helpful, but that's really how it feels. Now, I double checked it, so you guys might be going, how do you know you learned all of them through N2 and all that stuff? So I double checked them with the Nihongo Sou Matome series. It's like a JLPT prep book for all the levels, and I filled them out. I also checked out the free Tanos online list that they have. I will say this about Tanos, because I have used Tanos lists in the past for vocabulary as well. Great free resource. Double check everything. But I checked all those should all be good. And because I got to 15 before in remembering the kanji, I decided, you know, it might be worth it just to finish the book. It doesn't take that much time. I mean, if I got like 500 left, well, it's probably less than 500. To be fair, I actually highlighted all the ones I knew, and it even went beyond those 14 because I still study Japanese and I learned ones farther into the book. So I probably have like 300 left. If I learn 10 a day, it's 30 days. So I'll be done by the end of summer just to have remembering the kanji on my little memorial shelf book. So around 10,000 words, all the N2 kanji and a lot of the N1 kanji might be going, hey, Chad, what could I do? Well, as Chad Zimmerman, I can't speak for you. I actually brought some examples. Now, one of probably the largest asked questions that I get on my Discord, which you guys, if you're not a part of, you should totally join. It's just a bunch of language learning doofuses like myself, is what are you reading? And how are you getting all that reading material? Besides the fact that I'm in Japan, I usually just bring stuff back with me. A lot of the stuff that I've been reading this summer has been intentionally to challenge me, because I'm out of school. I can put the time in to like hate myself and go through really hard stuff. So the thing that I found out, however, the stuff that I put on my shelf because I was like, this is too hard for me to understand, are things like, this is a economics newspaper that I picked up on a flight from, I think it was Shanghai, as you could see. And I was sitting down this week reading this, because I sat this on that shelf because I was like, I'll never be able to read this without just stopping all the time. I didn't have to stop once. I'm at a loss for words, because I was so convinced I was just going to stutter through it and have to stop all the time. And it's like, oh, Chad, you failed the N2 last year by 13 points. You know, there's no way if you failed the N2 by 13 points that you're gonna not be able to read the newspaper. I didn't have to stop. I knew every word in it. I knew all the title words. I knew even the katakana that aren't based on English words, just from my word list. I knew all of it. And then I was like, well, maybe this is just easy. Let's try another one. And I remember years ago, this is a newspaper that I picked up after the Hawks had this insane game right before I left back to the States. And I had to get it because I love the Hawks. They're my favorite baseball team. Shout out, SoftBank Hawks. And at the time, I could read maybe 50% of it, and I was just going down the page, especially this bottom part. And you know, I was getting deeper into it, going to the horoscopes in the back, and I could read it. Like, I could read all of it. I will give you the stipulation, though, and this is something that I've noticed in my reading. If it hasn't been something like a manga or you know, like a children's book, something that's like 5th and 6th grade, stuff like those, what are they? The Kaidan Restaurant series that I told you guys about. Things higher level than that, like textbooks in Japanese. I actually have a encyclopedia of Japanese historical figures that is meant to teach a Japanese person about Japanese historical figures. When I read stuff like that, or when I read these newspapers, I can go all the way through the words. But occasionally, and I'll find my head doing this, I don't know what you call it, it's like a stutter. It'll, you know, I'll go ba 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 ba. The way that I've heard the language spoken, that same kind of flow, I read like that, but I'll hit something and it'll just be like, and that isn't that I don't know it, it's just something about my brain. It almost feels, the best way I could describe it, feels like you take a piece of paper and you crush it together like this, so it kind of like makes that in the middle, and it's almost like hitting that, and you have to slow down, like if you're a car, you have to slow down to get up the hill, or maybe put in more effort to get over the hill, but you still get over the hill, and then you're fine, and then another hill, you go, ee-oo, ee-oo. And it happens, I mean, it depends on the word, depends what I'm reading. The thing that I always realize, it's not necessarily the difficulty of the word. Maybe it's just been a long time since I've seen that word. Maybe I don't know that word as well as I should. A big thing that I found out in economic newspapers, they use words in ways that I didn't learn that they were used that way. They were using them in a different way than I knew. So even if I knew the word, it didn't make sense in the context of the sentence, and I was like, wait, what? It must mean something else. So I still have this stutter in my reading that I'm embarrassed about, and it's something that happens with me in English when I read out loud. Like, I'm obviously fluent in English. I'll read out loud in one of my classes in school, and even though I can read it butter perfect in my brain, just the minute I read it out loud, it's just, and I don't know if it's with me. Maybe you guys encounter this. Maybe you could tell me what you think this is. Is it nerves? Chad just doesn't know what he's doing. He just sucks. I never encounter that. That's totally fair. I understand. But that is a reality that I'm facing now with reading. Yes, I knew every page, every word here. At least that I read, I should say, on the first front page, because I actually sat this down immediately when I was done and went to the baseball one. But I knew every word, but I still had that stutter. And I thought that if I got to that level, it's like, oh yeah, you could read a newspaper. No one said I could read when I was thinking fluent, it's like, reading a newspaper is a goal that people set. But it's not like, oh, I can read a newspaper, but maybe I don't understand a phrasing of something, or maybe, I stutter through it, or maybe there's parts where I'm slower and parts where I'm faster. I don't know how you work that into a matrix of what you think fluency is, which is why the closer I've gotten to this, metaphorical finish line, the further it's gotten and the vaguer it's gotten. So it's so hard to tell, but I'm super proud. The fact that I thought I couldn't do that, even this week, I thought I wasn't gonna be able to do it. And it was not only doable, but easy. I was like, oh, dude, the good feels. To kind of tie this up, I read about a Japanese book a day-ish of 100 pages. It depends on the book that I have, but sometimes it might take me a week if it's, 200-300 pages. If it's a lot harder, like my encyclopedias, or easier, like my conspiracy theory books that I just eat up like candy. But I can read them, and it's not tedious. I don't have to sit there with a dictionary. I can just read and get what that person's trying to tell me. And it did take 4 years to get here, but I got here. Just trying to give you guys some feeling, some texture for, hey, 4 years, really hard work, 2 years of hardcore, reject English immersion, and then 2 more years of still, studying Japanese and going hard, but focus on mental health, having friends, going on dates with pretty ladies, right? Living. What happened? What do you expect when you have kind of that mix of yes, there's immersion, but there's also existence? This is where I'm at. Maybe I didn't cover something that you guys are like, well, Chad, I wanted to hear how this is with you. Ask me. Comments down below. I do actually read them, so just go, hey, Chad, I just wanted to know, and I'll answer it. I am an open book. Feel free to ask me. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or compliments, obviously leave them in the comment box down below. Also, if you're watching this and you're like, wow, this is crazy. You got a channel with 350 videos, you live stream every Saturday and help people with Japanese, and you take people over there and show them around. That's really cool. I want to be a part of it. The best way you can do it, and it's free, subscribe. It just means that you get pinged. And hey, if you hit the notification bell, because that really is the subscription nowadays, even more so, you'll get alerted when I upload stuff like this. And since last week was a holiday and you guys missed it, if maybe you missed it, I don't know, you could actually join the Discord or follow me on Twitter at That's My Chad, both of which I actually use to alert you guys, hey, if it's gonna take me a little bit, or maybe I'm running late, video will be up at midnight. That's the place that I actually go out there and tell people, hey, just want to keep you guys updated. Lastly, next Saturday, to my knowledge, is not a holiday. Live stream, bam, anime night. We are having anime night again next Saturday, 9 p.m. Mountain Time. Be there or be square. All right, I am so hot and I need to go shower this shame off. So I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Give me reasons to doubt, try to keep me down, but I'll put the flame out, you can't get to me. Throw your sticks and your stones, go break all of my bones. You won't ache my soul, you can't get to me.